Hello everybody, this is Alex Big Blue. Today I will be reviewing every single movie that I've saw in the theater this year. And I will also be rating each one of them out of 10. And yeah, it'll be non-spoilers as well, by the way. So without further ado, let's get right into the first movie. Spyro from the Book of Saw. So my favorite thing about this movie was Chris Rock just in general. His character was pretty interesting and definitely the best part of this as far as characters goes. And his acting was really good in this, and I really liked that overall. I just really liked his character a lot. As far as the Saw movies goes, I would say this is probably about right in the middle of all of them. It's not as good as the first two or some of my other ones I like a lot, but it's way better than a lot of the one or two of the lesser ones for sure. But like I said, probably about in the middle of overall Saw franchise, I'd say, give or take. But yeah, this was decent. The traps was sort of okay. I don't know. Like, it was definitely violent and stuff. I don't necessarily feel like it necessarily went up to exactly what I wanted it to be, but overall, I still enjoyed what I got with it. And it had, I guessed without saying what it is, of course, I guessed a plot twist in it early on, which didn't really hurt anything, but yeah, I just thought that was interesting that I did guess something right. But regardless, overall, it's a decent movie, and if you like the Saw movies, I definitely think you should check it out. Like I said, I enjoyed it for what it was. I would say it was a 6 out of 10. Next up, Wrath of Man. So this is the newest Guy Ritchie directed film. It is starring Jason Statham. So I didn't really know what to expect with this one, because I don't think I even saw the trailer. I just wanted to go to the movies, so I checked it out. And overall, I was pretty entertained by it, I'd have to say. It starts off as kind of a bit of more of a mystery, and kind of as it unravels, it gives you more backstory and more of what's going on. It's got a lot of different characters and moving pieces, but honestly, for the most part, I think it works. It feels a little bit long, but overall, I like the movie, and I think Statham does a good job in here. And overall, the acting's pretty solid. It's good to see Josh Hartnett back in this movie, by the way. And overall, I thought it was pretty good. A few parts are kind of weird, and I don't know if it makes the most sense, but for the most part, I thought it was a decent enough movie and adequate enough to give one watch at least. So I would have to rate it a 6. The Forever Purge. So let me just give a quick backstory on my Purge movies, how I feel about them. The first two I loved a lot. The first one's probably my favorite one, but I don't know. The first and second are neck and neck. I really love those two. I like the third one for a guilty pleasure movie. It got a little silly, but I still enjoyed it. Overall, it was pretty solid stuff. The fourth one I absolutely hated. I find the fourth movie very tedious and just unenjoyable all the way around, to be completely honest. So this one I wasn't expecting much, and the trailer didn't really make me think much of it either. However, I have to say, it actually pleasantly surprised me. It was pretty good. I like the desert backdrop for this one. The kind of out in the Texas or North, I forget exactly which state it is, New Mexico, I think, maybe. Either way, out in that kind of a place. Actually, it was kind of interesting to see the purge going on in that. And I have to say, overall, it was pretty cool because the movie seemed like it was going to go early on in a certain kind of way that I was like, they're going to do this. You know, it's kind of like I thought it was going to be super weird and kind of preachy, but I felt in a bad way, by the way. I mean, and instead, I feel like it actually pleasantly surprised me in that, and it worked out to be one of the strengths of the movie because all of the leads, I would say, really kind of helped sell this movie. The acting was decent enough, and overall, I thought the action was pretty good, and I thought it was interesting enough, and a lot, a huge step up from the fourth one, that it made me enjoy this one a lot more than I thought I was going to, and I actually liked it. It's pretty good overall, and I'd say it's worth a watch if you've already liked the other Purge movies. So 6 out of 10 for that one. And next up we have Fast 9. So Fast 9 the action was good, of course, as you probably expect, being the strength of these movies. Vin Diesel and John Cena and their characters in this, and their backstory is by far the strongest thing in this. But I also like seeing the other characters in this. It had some from past movies, not saying exactly who because I'm not trying to spoil it, and also the ones that was already you knew would be in it anyways. I liked that all of them was here and they was doing their stuff. On the negative side, it got so silly and cartoonishly ridiculous at times, it completely sucked me out of it. And it has a lot of that, a lot more than the other ones even. So that was certainly the negatives on that. But overall, I did like John Cena's role in this, and enough of the plot and stuff, the backstory especially, really kind of sold me on it. I still enjoyed it, even though I have a lot of problems with it. Overall, I still liked it, and it's a 6 out of 10. Godzilla vs. Kong. I have to say, this movie has a lot of positives and negatives that makes me feel different ways about it. But overall, the good in this is really good, being the monster stuff with King Kong versus Zilla. And also, there's a surprise in this, which I won't reveal, obviously, but anybody who sees this will know what I'm talking about. But the surprise in this, towards the third act, that surprise kicks us up another notch for me and made me thoroughly enjoy this movie, where I was otherwise still enjoying it, but that really kicked it up a notch. But I have to say, in general, all of the monster stuff is really good. The fights and action is good. And I also liked the little girl character who communicates with Kong in a way. I'll let you see what I'm talking about that. But that actually worked for me pretty good. And she's the best human character in this because she gives him a way to communicate without talking, because obviously it'd be weird if Kong was talking. But yeah, I thought that was pretty good. I actually liked that story arc, and her mom's character I thought was fine. And the overall army aspect of this one was a little better than in the previous movie of the series. I thought they was okay, even though it was a bit silly and dumb on the plot itself a little bit. But I liked all of the Part A stuff, I'd have to say, on this. Now, I guess you'd say B story arc with Millie Bobby Brown and the other kid and the other character that's the conspiracy guy, I didn't like as much, and I'll tell you why. The conspiracy guy drives me nuts. I can't really stand his character in this at all. I find him just to be a dumb, annoying character, but I don't know if everybody will feel that way, but for me, that's how I felt personally. But regardless, that was by far the weak spot of it. And just kind of general weird story beats and stuff that didn't necessarily work at times. But overall, I really liked the action and monster stuff a lot in this. And like I said, most of the other human characters I actually thought was fine and decent enough. So I'd have to rate this one a 7 out of 10. This is a movie that I did thoroughly enjoy. Escape Room 2. So the first Escape Room I liked a lot. I thought it looked interesting from the trailer, and I checked it out. It was really a fast-paced, kind of not knowing what was going to happen movie that gets super intense. And I would have to say the second one was the same in that way. It's very tense, no slow moments or boringness in it at all. It's just really fast-paced, high-intensity, kind of almost but in a good way, anxiety-inducing. But yeah, I like this movie a lot. Not nearly as much as the first one, though. The first one was a lot better. And I would have to say the reasons for that is this one's a lot of the twists in this and certain stuff about it I didn't like that much. But that being said, I still think it's a very good scary movie, if you will, or thriller movie, whatever you want to look at it as. I look at it as kind of both. But overall, I thought it was, like I said, fun and exciting, and certainly a interesting ride that keeps you on your focus for sure. You're not going to get bored in it for sure. And I liked it, like I said, not as much as the first one, but I did like the movie pretty solidly. So it's also a 7 out of 10. Black Widow. Okay, so Black Widow I thought was another solid entry into the MCU. I thought it was a pretty good, enjoyable movie overall. I thought they did Black Widow did Black Widow justice in this, as actually giving her a story that was good, filled with pretty interesting characters for the most part. And I enjoyed the script and the route they went with that for the most part as well. And her sister's character, I thought really kind of sold the movie. Her acting and her character was really good. I really liked her character a lot. and really thought that she was kind of the anchor of this, but Black Widow herself was really good. The Red Guardian was good and interesting. Of course, David Harbour's always pretty good in everything, but yeah, I thought he was really good in this as well. And the whole overall kind of family aspect of this, I thought, even though not like a normal family, as you'll see, but regardless, for what it was, I thought that was still interesting and actually was pretty good. It kind of really sold the movie for me. The only main negative thing would be a certain character in this, which you all probably know who I'm talking about if you saw spoilers, which hopefully you didn't if you want to see it, but I'm not going to spoil it here. But there's a certain character here that they pretty much just did a travesty to. They're not anything at all like the character in the comics, but which I like a lot, comic books, so you can probably figure that it irked me, but that's really the only major thing, although it is a pretty major thing that they botched. Otherwise, though, the other bad characters in this and the characters in general were pretty good, and I thought it was a good, entertaining movie for the most part. So even despite that one major flaw, I still actually like this movie. And what only other nitpick, or not nitpick, but other smaller thing, but still kind of a big thing, is they kind of do too many jokes, particularly, that undercuts a lot of the potential drama they could have had. I actually thought they had some pretty good dramatic setup they could have went with a little bit longer, and it would have made it even a lot better. But they kind of undercut it with a lot of humor, a little bit too much for my liking in this one. But still, overall, I thought the good way outweighs the bad, and I actually like this movie. It's pretty solid, and a 7 out of 10 is what I would rate this one. The Suicide Squad, which is effectively Suicide Squad 2. Okay, so this is the newest one I watched. So I have to say, overall, I liked this movie. It was pretty entertaining, and I liked a lot of the characters quite a bit. And the script was solid enough, I guess. And overall, I thought all of the characters you focus on a lot in this, which I won't say who because the type of thing could be spoilery, I guess. But all of the main characters that it focuses on a lot in this, I thought did a good job and was really good. I really liked that of it. I thought it's pretty action-packed and pretty funny at times. And it's got a lot of curveballs thrown at you and a lot of surprises and stuff, which is kind of interesting and keeps it. I would say for the most part it works. At first, I'll be honest. Early on in the movie, I wasn't sure of how much I was going to like it. It's just a lot different than I expected. Some things, the way they're portrayed early on, and the tone and stuff, I wasn't sure of either, honestly. But even though I feel like at times it's a bit too edgy for my taste, just with random stuff, and a little bit darker than it needs to be at times, for the most part, I feel like through the middle of this movie and onward, especially the kind of the third arc, I feel like is really good in this. The second arc's not bad, and the first one's alright too. It's just, I sort of felt like I figured out what the movie was going for as it went along a little bit. And overall, I really enjoyed the movie, especially due to certain characters. And it was fun overall, and I'd have to say it's a 7 out of 10 as well. A Quiet Place 2. So, I'm going to first of all tell you that I loved the first A Quiet Place. It was great. Just an epic, scary movie all the way through in all the best ways. And this one is really good as well. I would say for the most part it stays on about the same level as it. Although I don't like it quite as much, personally. But it's very interesting. The first scene is amazing. Just unbelievably good. I don't want to talk about too much what it is, but basically it's the backstory to the first one. We'll just put it that way. That whole entire scene is just great. So starting off super hot with that. The rest of the movie is really good as well. It keeps you on your toes. You still freak out whenever you hear somebody make a big noise, which is always an effective thing. And it's the characters are great. I like the new character introduced here, and that actor in general. But he did a really good job here. He's the guy that played Scarecrow in The Dark Knight, for example. That guy. And overall, this is a really good movie. Really interesting, and it's kind of cool to see them world build a little bit more from the first one and see a little bit more about the world and try to see if they can do something to solve this, which I won't spoil if they do or not, of course. But it was a great follow-up to the first one and a great sequel that I really liked on its own merit, continuing the story. So yeah, it's a great movie overall. You definitely should check it out if you like the first one. 8 out of 10. And my favorite movie of the year so far, slightly over A Quiet Place 2, is Mortal Kombat. Okay, so let me just get the negative out of the way to start with. The biggest negative is the fact that they have a new character, which is Cole, by the way, you see it in the trailers. But the fact that they focus on him so much is a bit of a drawback, and I don't like that, that he's one of the forefront characters. But that being said, I still thought the character was okay and stuff for what they was. But the biggest negative thing is the fact that they focus on that character more than some of the others. So I'll just go ahead and get that out of the way first. And there's also, besides that, there's some plot problems and some kind of goofy things that happens that kind of you could have done a lot better, certainly. But that being said, now let's get on to the good stuff. Okay, so first of all, Scorpion and Sub-Zero and everything to do with them entirely towards the beginning of the movie or anything else is absolutely amazing. I love all the stuff. The actors did a great job. The characters are portrayed very cool, very interesting. The overall Scorpion arc and character choices made in this is just great. I just loved all of that. And the action in this movie in general is very good. And the fatalities are here, and not only are they here, they're up to the video game level standards, in my opinion. Some great fatalities and lots of them. So if you want that, you get it. I also feel like they did a really good job of making all the characters look like you want them to. Like, they really do look just pretty much like the main, or like all the characters in the game for the most part. Certainly all the main ones, and the secondary ones even. The overall characters they use in this is pretty good. Most of the characters are portrayed pretty well. Sonya, I'm not crazy about the way her character was, but for the most part, everybody else is really good. Kano is a surprising, interesting character in this. The fact that he kind of tells like a ton of jokes and just kind of a goofy acting character, but it really works, surprisingly. I actually liked his character a lot in this, as well as Liu Kang, Kung Lao, and a lot of the other ones, which I won't say because I don't know if they're given away or not. But the guy who played Kung Lao and his character is really interesting in this and really good, just almost perfect, honestly. Liu Kang could have been a bit better, but I still thought he was pretty good. I think he's fine. Just maybe should give him a little bit more stuff to chew on, maybe. But yeah, in general, this movie is great, and every time Sub-Zero shows up or is about to, it's just like a scary movie all of a sudden. That character really sells this a lot with Scorpion and some of the others, and he just gives off huge, like, super threatening boss level villainry whenever he shows up. So that's always really great. And like I said, overall, I really like this movie. I think the action's great, and it's just really fun and interesting and very entertaining for sure. So if you heard negative reviews of this, I would say check it out yourself if you was interested, certainly. And if you're a Mortal Kombat fan, you kind of got to check it out, I feel like. But I really liked it. Even with, like I said, some of the flaws aside, the good way outweighs the bad, and the good stuff is pretty great. So, yeah, this is Alex Blue. Thank you guys. Oh, wait, I didn't rate that one. Oh, yeah. And I'm going to rate that one an 8 out of 10 as well. It and A Quiet Place is the only two to be 8 or higher, by the way, so far. But yeah, I really enjoyed those two a lot, and I enjoyed watching all of them at least once. The other ones I said as well, and some of them more than that, I'm sure. But this is Alex Blue. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you later.